challenging limits. It was one day in 1998. Do you want to try riding? One idea came to Changhyun's mind when the commissioner put him on the electric wheelchair. He never thought of riding it before because he can't use his hands.
It would work if we put a vacuum cleaner tube on the control pad.
Okay.
Whoa! It's moving! Moving!
Changhyun lowered his back and pushed the tube with his face, which surprisingly worked. The wheelchair moved. Changhyun took a 3-kilometer round trip from Daemyeong Market to Seongdang-mot by controlling the wheelchair with the tube using his face. But for moneyless Changhyun, electric wheelchair was a pie in the sky.
Changhyun, this isn't much, but do what you want to do with it.
Now Changhyun got himself an electric wheelchair with his mother's help. He started to challenge himself.
I want to wish for the successful 2002 World Cup in Korea.
He ran on his wheelchair for 45 days without stopping at 5 kilometers per hour, starting from Daegu in October 1999. His tire went flat and stopped him for a while. His path was very close to a cliff once, and sometimes cars honked very close to him. It wasn't easy, but he didn't give up. Of course, he met some unforgettable, very nice people. He wanted to go further, but it was getting dark. So he had to return to Bukchon village and knock on a restaurant door.
Come on in. Please rest well and have breakfast in the morning.
Such warm-hearted people he met on the journey was his drive and led him to finish crossing the land. The next year, Changhyun thought to himself seeing the whole country in pain due to the IMF crisis.
I want to present courage and joy to people in despair. My body is not free, but I can do anything with my mouth. I will go to the U.S.
Crossing the land that is totally unfamiliar, including the language, barriers seemed like a tremendous challenge, but at the same time, an opportunity to show the world Koreans will overcome the crisis. In September 2000, he ran 5,500 kilometers from LA to New York. He experienced all 4 seasons in North America, crossing the desert of over 40 degrees Celsius in Arizona, rugged mountains in New Mexico and Oklahoma covered in snow.
Wow! A wonderful Korean!
The expression Changhyun heard the most in the US was Forrest Gump of Korea. He felt elated every time he heard that.
Wow! So this is the top of Mount Evans.
Reminiscing the Korean flag streaming in the wind at the top of Mount Evans, reaching the height of 4,348 meters still gives him a vivid sensation. Once, Changhyun didn't have money for accommodation, so he visited a homeless shelter called the Lighthouse Outreach Center in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. He stayed there for one night and having breakfast, he thought he wants to give them a gift.
Could you bring me 2 glasses of water? Now drink 1 glass. Your glass is empty, but my glass is still full of water. I can't drink a drop without help, even if I die from dehydration. You have 2 hands you can use freely to drink water whenever you want to. That is a blessing and an asset. If you are faced with hardship living your life, think of me. And I hope you get to realize what you have and be grateful for that. Goodbye!
2 years later, Changhyun crossed all 4 islands of Japan from Kyushu to the northernmost Hokkaido, wishing the success of 2003 Daegu Universiade. It rained heavily, making a raincoat useless, and his mouth and jaw hurt trying to control the wheelchair amid strong winds. However, such challenge of severely disabled man was first in Japan. It attracted many people, showing heartfelt encouragement. This enabled Changhyun to finish his trip safely.
I think the most meaningful is that the Korean flag fluttered in Japan even in the rain and strong wind. I want everyone to have courage and challenge anything, because it's okay to be frustrated or fail. It's good to succeed, but through failure, you get a meaningful lesson.
Our little friends, you might think that he'd done enough and had already made a great accomplishment. But Changhyun didn't stop there. He continued his challenge.